All right, so now we're going to talk about how to actually repair and build your credit. So a lot of my clients are always asking me, should I repair or build my credit? Should I repair or build my credit? The truth of the matter is every credit profile is different, and technically you could do both at the same time. But a lot of times we focus on doing one at a time. So if you have negative items can include late payments, it can include collections, it can include charge-offs, child support, all of the above. Student loans, your student loans can be negative. You want to get those removed. So I have a podcast, I have a YouTube. There's so many resources. If you go to catacticllc.com, it'll help you get started and be on the road to, removing all those negative items. Because you got to understand with credit is ruling everything. So you want to get your situation fixed as soon as possible. If you happen to be somebody that doesn't want to do it on their own, or you're just like, so much information, I don't really know too much about credit, I just want, my approvals. We offer done-for-you credit repair services. We are not cheap, but we offer done-for-you credit repair services. If you want to do it for yourself, we have cheap, DIY products. So go to catacticllc.com, click on DIY products, go to catacticllc.com, go to our YouTube, go to listen to the podcast, right? The podcast is free. So it's all out there for you, and there's no reason why you shouldn't get it done. But, when you're in the repair phase, this is what we want to do. What you want to do is, one method you can do is using a consumer loss, which, we elaborate in the catacticllc.com website. I can't get too much deep into it here because, this is just a basic free course just to get you started. But, if you listen to the podcast, we have deletion letters that, you can plug in and delete those as well. So go to catacticllc.com. You can grab those. So you can go to consumer law route. Like, let's say if you have a collection, you can go to consumer law route, or you can do like the basics of like factual disputing and things like that. And I actually have a CAT credit checklist at catacticllc.com that can really help you get started on that process as well. So number one, the main thing when you're repairing your credit, let's say, I just want to give y'all some best practices to get you started, because I can't say everything here in like 2 minutes, but just to get you started. Let's say you have a collection. Number one, best practice, I always say you want to send a debt validation letter. We have a debt validation letter on our website that's very, very powerful. So you can purchase that letter if you want, or you can draft up your own debt validation. The whole purpose of the debt validation is you're putting it upon the collection agency to validate the debt. And I'm going to give y'all a spoiler alert. The spoiler alert is that they can't validate the debt. The reason why they can't validate the debt is that because when it's a collection, they've sent it off to somebody else that's not the original creditor. So they don't have the contract that you signed with the original creditor. So when you're like, okay, validate this debt, send me the contract and everything, they can't send you that. They might send you like a statement, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they validated it. And I don't want to get too deep when we talk about consumer laws. When we talk about validation of debt, which is 15 USC 1692G, that's the code. It talks about, the things that satisfy validating the debt. And a spoiler alert, at the end of the day, only you, the consumer, can validate a debt. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, they can never validate that debt. So the sauce is always ask for validation of debt, right? Like I said, we got a letter on the website. If you don't know where to start with that, that's handling a collection. A charge-off, for example, we have a letter as well. Charge-off is basically income because it was sold off as income. That's the IRS classifies as income. Spoiler alert, income is not supposed to be on your credit report. So that's, do what you will with how to get that removed. We have a podcast episode on how to get that removed. So it's just understanding that these are the basics and things you want to understand when it comes to actually removing these negative items. So like I said, one way you can do is the consumer loss. That'll help you remove those negative items. We have DIY resources. We have the podcast, everything to teach you about consumer loss. You can do factual disputing. Pull all three of your credit reports. This is factual disputing. Pull all three of your credit reports. A lot of times, things don't match up. If you have a loan and it says 50-something thousand and it says like 52,000 over here, that's an inaccuracy. The Fair Credit Reporting Act says that all reporting agencies have to be reporting accurate information. If something says 50,000, somebody says 52,000, how can both of them be correct, right? So really understand that. That's factual disputing. Let me give y'all like one more method before we get on to building. So one method you could also do is like an FTC report. FTC report is basically identity theft. And a lot of people get scared of that, but identity theft means no consent when we talk about the consumer laws. So if you have information on your report that you didn't give them permission to publish, which is pretty much everything, that's identity theft by law, by consumer laws, right? So you can go to FTC website and submit an FTC report, and that can help get that negative item removed as well. You get that FTC report, especially with inquiries. You put the inquiries on there. You send them the identity theft report that you sent. Best practice, you always want to send certified mail so they can't say that they didn't receive it, right? A code, a law that you can use for identity theft and removing inquiries is 15 USC 1681 C-2, block of information. I don't want to get too deep on y'all if you don't know about the laws, right? So that's where you can remove negative items as well. The main thing with removing negative items, I want y'all to really understand when it comes to the repairing phase, is that you have so many different options. I can't get into all of them because we'll be here all day. But like I said, I have different resources such as a podcast and everything to help you with that. As far as building, you want to, like I said, you want to have 10 positive accounts. With building, I have a CAT credit builder, which you can go ahead and get. I mentioned all the different primaries on there that you can get. I think it's like 15 accounts or maybe even more. So all you got to do, go to catacticsllc.com, go get the CAT credit builder. I think it's like $37, something super cheap like that. So just examples of accounts that you want to have. Credit strong, right? Self-lender. And like I said, there's more in the CAT credit builder, but you just want to get that minimum of 10 positive accounts. And once you've repaired your credit and once you've built your credit, you put yourself in a position to be able to, get the best funding. One thing too I want to say is that there's some consumer reporting agencies, secondaries. You can freeze the secondaries, and that can help you get rid of those negative items. So for example, there's LexisNexis. LexisNexis is known for furnishing bankruptcies. So once you freeze LexisNexis, you're able to it's less likely that they're going to verify that you have that bankruptcy. So you want to look at the secondaries as snitches, because they'll snitch on you to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So basically freezing them will allow you to dispute those negative items more effectively. If you want more information on the secondaries, I have a DIY credit ebook, which you can get at catacticsllc.com. The theme of this is that, this is just exposing y'all to the information generally, but I've already put out the information numerous times in different resources, so I can point you over to the podcast. I can point you over to the DIY resources. So, that's repairing, that's building, and that's how you build and get a perfect credit profile.